As Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress lurches from one crisis to another, many have expressed concern that the party is blind to the lessons of the past. At the root of the crisis is the battle for control of the party, as various elements and/or factions within the APC seek to gain the upper hand ahead of the 2023 elections. Now joining us to further discuss the APC, as well as the emerging political developments in the country, is Dr. Tunji Abayomi, a politician and lawyer who for many years served as counsel to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Until yesterday, Dr. Abayomi was the Pro-Chancellor of the Adekunle Ajasin University in Akungba-Akoko, Ondo State. Welcome to the show, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Doctor, congratulations on your completion of your tour of duty as a Pro-Chancellor.
Thank you.
I recall the last time I saw you, you were still Pro-Chancellor.
Thank you.
But let's start, with APC. What's your take on the crisis within the party? We've been discussing that all morning, and the story is in the front pages of today's newspapers. Do you think that the president has been able to douse the tension and that all will be well going forward, or that there are certain fears that we need to express about that party and its prospects?
Well, in my view, the president has not been able to douse the tension, but I believe he will be able. He hasn't been able, but I believe he will be able. He has reminded members of the party to call to history and to memory the experience of a rival political party, and that is PDP. I believe common sense is going to prevail at the end of the whole experience. A whole lot ought to have been done before now, working towards resolution of internal crisis. I think a lot of our leaders within the party essentially laid back and took things for granted. Managing human beings with political interests is often a very difficult task, and you have to be up and doing, which really we haven't achieved in the party. But I think recognizing the danger that lies ahead, some effort is being put into it now, and I believe the president will achieve the objective.
Well, the president, I think, was in January of this year, already told his party to get their act in order, otherwise they'll end up losing power to PDP. That call did not work. He has had to repeat it. Who's to say that if he does repeat it ad nauseum, will make a blind bit of difference? It appears that there are really intractable positions that have been taken at this point. What's it going to take to effect a reconciliation? Are we to expect that all of this is just pre-convention jitters, and on the day of convention, we're going to see a smooth election and we're all going to see all of this tension doused?
Well, usually and almost traditionally, you have a lot of crises before conventions because of diverse interests of people. So it's not an abnormal development. It's expected. However, my view is that the president has spoken a few times, but he will going to have to act a lot more and be more involved in the political resolution of the crisis within the party. I think this is what he needs to do, as well as be strong enough, firm enough, courageous enough to take some very vital decision in the interest of internal unity and general objective of winnability, I would say, in this political contest.
Do you have any specific decisions in mind? It appears that you do. Do you have a roadmap for the president to take, if you will?
Well, he needs to call the leaders of the party, the governors, the ESCO, National ESCO, and some important non-office holders within the party. And then they simply sit down and decide what really are the issues fundamentally affecting the party and how do we move forward. As it is now, the issue of chairmanship, the issue of presidency, the issue of zoning, these are all general issues in any political party. The problem is that a lot time ought to have been taken to look into these issues, not at this late stage. Because, I mean, it's like cancer. I mean, some problems are at an early stage, difficult to detect, but easy to cure. But if you leave some problems, like cancer, at the late stage, it's easy to detect, but difficult to cure. And that is just what we need to do.
But in this case, this cancer in the APC, borrowing your word,
Yes.
has been there for some time, and they have discovered it. But the question is, do they have the temerity to do the chemotherapy for it?
Well, I'm not
Because this was the same cancer that they saw during Adams Oshiomhole. The cancer is the fact that some party members are indisciplined and they feel the party must belong to them and they don't care who is affected. That's the cancer.
Well, I think the cancer during Oshiomhole was a little different. The problem of the cancer in Oshiomhole was total distance from the constitution of the party. Here now, we follow our constitution, but we have a whole lot of internal wrangling and disaffection, you know. So that's a completely different cancer. The cancer during Oshiomhole was more cancerous, if I would say, than what we have now. And it was almost impossible. You couldn't have a situation where, for example, we were just imposing candidates when the Constitution required that you have to have some form of primary and so on and so forth. That was done in Oshiomhole. But here we're not at that point.
But that cancer is still prevalent. It is still that same cancer that made them change Buni without following the laid-down principles that you have to give the man a 7 days notice before you remove him. So when they saw it backfired now, and INEC say, we don't know what you guys are doing here, they are reverting to that same Buni. It's the same cancer, isn't it?
Well,
not following laid-down procedures. It's the same cancer like a showless time.
But
it's the same cancer.
You know, but again, in this case now we're talking of changing the chairman. But at the end of, at that other time, it was the chairman that was changing everybody. That's the difference. I believe that this issue will be resolved. At the end of it all, the buck stops at the table of the president. That's why I said the president needs to be more active, more determined, more courageous to take decisions that is beneficial for the party.
Doctor, there's a new development. The latest development being Daily Trust and other platforms reporting this morning that Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has now declared his interest in the presidential race for 2023. And that will be pitching him directly against his benefactor, some may even say godfather, former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I would like your comment on this because I know you once described Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a dictator, I think in 2016.
Yes.
But now, you know, if you have to make a choice, support, you know, a particular person from the Southwest, will it be Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or will it be Professor Yemi Osinbajo? Well, if you could comment on that dynamic.
Well, I didn't really directly say he was a dictator.
Okay.
What I said at that time was that it was important for institutional dynamics to be allowed, a government of law and not of men, which has actually characterized the political development in this country. Now, my position has always been I take decisions based on, for example, if we take the governor of my state, Aketi, I didn't support him in 2012 because I feel that leadership should be the prerogative of the people, not prerogative of leaders. Now, with regard to Asiwaju, yes, I did say that, but we must also know that this year, for example, I also released a statement, and I said he's manifestly qualified and competent for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My view is very clear. The problem of Nigeria are ancient problems. We have ancient endemic problems. And you need a strong, sound, experienced mind to deal with these problems. There have been a whole lot of things about Asiwaju, complaint about this, his education, but nobody has said, yeah, he's not educated. There have been issues about, some people have spoken about his health. But I see a man going all over the place, working, talking, without any problems. I mean, I see him standing for hours, talking to the people about his ideas, about reform, about employment of youth, about the economy, and so on and so forth. So I feel that he's very, very competent. And from my study of the last number of years, his contribution to especially human capital in this country, including the vice president. I was there, for example, the very day the vice president became a vice presidential candidate. And I think the first person he visited was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in appreciation of his contribution to make him what he is. And we can talk of quite a number of people. So if you are looking for a leader, what do you really need? You need somebody who is strong enough to build people. You need somebody who is strong enough to materialize the nation. You also need somebody who is strong enough for innovation. And if we look at Lagos State, what it was before he became the governor of Lagos State and what Lagos became after, including developed governors that succeeded him through his effort, definitely we just have to come to the conclusion that he's a vital personality, largely good enough for this nation. This is my thing.
Yeah, but if it comes to a race at the primaries between Asiwaju, Tinubu, and Vice President Osinbajo, who will you prefer?
Well, but the point is that here, Vice President Osinbajo is not running.
No, I just said the papers reported today
so
that
when he formally declares, some people are running for him or running him. But as of today, the only candidate, I would say, the only candidate that is running well, I emphasize running well, because there are a lot of preliminary candidates that are, raising their heads. But the only candidate that is running well as of today is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I think this is the perception of a whole lot of us in APC. When we get more people who are showing sufficient effervescence and determination, we will be able to determine. But as of today, the principal candidate, supportable, in my view, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, it's important that a seasoned, gentleman like yourself, you've talked about historical antecedents, you've talked about character, but can you just explain to the Nigerian public the importance, the crucial importance of a structure, without which an aspirant will never become a candidate and will certainly never become a president? It is crucial to have a structure. I think that is often missed in the conversation around the presidency of Nigeria. We all talk in terms, very idealistic terms, of who has the ideas and who has the intellect and even the health, what have you, but structure is key. Can we talk about that? How no candidate or aspirant can actually be taken seriously if you don't have a structure?
Well, structure will fall into basically two. You can talk of the structure of a nation, and you can also talk of the structure of its institutions. A nation is great when it has great institutions. And when we're looking at who will be the president of Nigeria, we then have to determine what's his commitment and capacity to innovate great institutions. In terms of the structure of Nigeria, I think that we now have to look into the future, because I have maintained again and again that Nigeria has no structure. The structure of a nation is its constitution. And as you are well aware, I believe I have often said it on Arise here, that this nation needs to take a good look at its constitution. Nigeria is a unique nation made up of many nations put together divinely in a geographical zone. If such a nation is going to form a united nation, so to say, they need to sit around the table like we are now and agree on the terms of their unity. That has not happened in the country. The first effort, Lancaster meeting, is like a form of a writ of summons. Then the military came and foisted on us a false constitution where it declared that we, the people, it was the military that was declaring it, but the military in doing that recognized that the development of the constitution of a nation must come from the people. That's why I said we, the people, hereby, when in fact it's not true. So the structure of a nation at a point needs to be looked at, and the National Assembly and the president at a point must come. Otherwise, this nation will never move forward. I can tell you that. But in terms of the institutions, I think the major problem we have in our country is institutional integrity. Most of our institutions lack institutional integrity. If we look at Western countries, they build institutional integrity. So if there is going to be a perforation by individuals, the institution deals with that. But in our nation, individuals appear to be more important than institutions. And that's why we have structural problems continually, both in governance as well as in our polity.
So is it Bola Tinubu that will fix these structural problems in Nigeria?
I think he has a capacity. Didn't he fix it in Lagos State? If you look at the challenges he faced in Lagos State, if you see the challenges he faced in Lagos, including the challenges when, for example, when the federal government decided not to give the funds that was due to it, he was innovative in ensuring that a mega city like Lagos, was moving.
So would you say Lagos has lived up to its billing?
Not totally, but it's done considerably more than other cities, hasn't it? At least.
But you admit Lagos could have been better?
Well, everything could have been better. Anybody would have been better. We can all be better. We all know. We always strive to be better. Definitely.
So you admit that there are loopholes?
There will always be loopholes in the government of human beings, no doubt.
Well, Dr. Abayomi, we have just about 4 minutes to go. There was a question I posed to Senator Ali Ndume, who was our first guest, and I wanted your take on that. The Section 84, Subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, which the President said the lawmakers should remove. But the Senate, decided that that's important for political office holders to relinquish their positions long before the primaries.
Well, I don't agree with the National Assembly on that, because you cannot treat equals unequally or unequals equally.
How? The whole idea of that provision is to provide a level playing field.
Well, it doesn't provide a level playing field.
Okay.
It doesn't provide any level playing field. What's the purpose of, for example, I'm in university. In university as a Pro-Chancellor, I make 150 sitting allowance, and I want to run, for example, for the Senate. You say merely because I'm in the university, I cannot prospect or contest for nomination to be, for example, a senator.
No, that's not what the law says. The law says you have to leave your position as a public office holder ahead of the primaries. Yeah. And that if you keep that position, it gives you an advantage. And in any case, you've tried to run about 3 times as governor, and also about twice as senator. What's your plan for 2023?
Well, my point, the point I'm making is that it does not actually provide any advantage as such. We have people that are elected. If the issue is you take advantage of your position, it's the same thing applies to all the political, electors. So in a sense, you are treating is discriminatory. And then the other issue is that the requirement to contest for office is set by the Constitution. I don't think under the law you can improve on that, in my view.
Okay, well, I think that's about all. We would like to thank you very much, Dr. Tunji Abayomi. Although you not answered the question about what you want to do in 2023.
Well, for me, that is still to be decided after the convention. We do hope that the convention of APC will go very well. After that convention, decision will be taken. Of course, we also know that presidential candidates are coming. I'm going to obviously support, I think I'm going to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu for president.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tunji Abayomi, for joining us on The Morning Show.